Alright everybody, welcome to the Chess Zone. Coach Chad here on another weekday afternoon where we're staying sharper than your average patzer, you would say. You gotta review sometimes those games that, they feel right. You storm away somewhere and come back to them. That's what I've been doing, and I want to share with you one of my favorites. This one came back to me just a few days ago, and I wanted to put it out there for you all. It was in the blog, so if you maybe took a look, see if you took a look at the same ideas I was looking at. Of course, I have the board shown with black facing me if you're following along, and hopefully that takes your attention away from this sun that keeps shining in my face. But white jumps out with the English opening, pawn to c4, c4, not e4, c4 for the English. And Coach Chad, he doesn't mind c4. It gives him the chance to play the Borg with giving his opponent a chance to look at that strange pawn out there on g5. And a lot of times in the English, this is sort of preloaded. You got this knight coming out right behind that pawn, getting this big, strong center here, right? But next move, bishop coming. Always Coach Chad with the bishop here. Always want to get that bishop fianchetto set up and active early. That's what the Borg is all about for Coach Chad. Not really caring much about this guy here. Don't really care. Next slide, though. White counters my fianchetto with a fianchetto of their own. Great idea. Great idea. You might want to even add this to your strength here. So we'll see, right? But for black, no worries. Coming out common here in Coach Chad's board is these two pawns out here. And since we're not even worried about this one yet, because it's a gambit pawn anyways, as you know if you follow along, that pawn is easily gambited. Makes a lot of opportunities later on in the game. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. Queen comes out, aggressive. This is, again, fundamental aspect of Coach Chad's strategy here is applying tons of pressure along here. And we'll see what our opponent wants to do with it. Of course, they haven't developed their bishop yet. They haven't moved their queen in here. So we could see strange opportunities for black to have to maybe, retreat the queen. Got all green here, but you guys would get the idea. So white not amused with the strange, aggressive, dark squared strategy, comes for the weak pawn here. Do we protect it? What do we do with it? Yeah, we use it to push the knight right out of the way, right? Look at this. Aggressive move that we don't always see something like that. It catches your opponent off guard. White is although they've got both their knights developed, now their knights got to move twice, breaking the golden rule for most players. And now the knight's on the rim too, so, interesting. But a lot of the strange things could happen. White wants to develop still. Black hasn't defined a weakness for sure. So I'm going to take advantage of this big extended queen side, or king side, I should say, for black. And see what white wants to do. They castle. Why not? Stay safe. You played the English. You wanted to maybe make your attack later on in the game anyways, after you've made some pawn structures. Black needs to develop. Brings the knight out. Great call. And this knight on the rim finds a moment to see if black's paying attention, right? Great move. I like this. What am I going to do? What do I do here for black? Take a chance to think, right? Of course, this was a bullet game, as most of my games are, so black doesn't have a chance to think. And I reckon Coach Chad retreats, or another idea would have been to bring the king to that same square. But no matter what, we need to fill that f8 square somehow. Retreating sort of tempts the pre-move, right? What if this knight was pre-moving? Bullet. Ooh, now you got a free knight, right? So now this knight's out here. We're going to see what this knight ends up doing. I'm already thinking ahead that, like, okay, he can come back here, he can come back here. Those both look kind of ugly. This is got you covered, oops, and got you covered, right? So we'll see what the knight wants to do. He can, of course, take his own piece. And here, this knight's starting to seem like he's got only 2 strange squares. Of course, this is a calculation that you're doing in your head as you're playing faster. You're already thinking about this. You're thinking, oh, knight seems trapped. You should feel that, genuinely. That's what I learned from this game, right? So, if we feel trapped, we want to push that knight out of the way. Where's he going to go? Yeah, he's going to retreat. And he went to one of those red squares where I felt like he was sort of blocking things up, giving black this chance to, although maybe we haven't developed all of our pieces, we've had to retreat our bishop, gives us a chance to see how we're going to develop. And we actually always love an outpost knight, right? Especially when we can't advance a pawn to push him off. So this is a side effect of the knight coming to this square earlier that I pointed out. This rook comes in at this point. Why does the rook come here? Well, he probably wants to develop his bishop, but he knows he can't because the queen's bearing down. And so, not a lot to do. So white wants to maybe see what we're doing here in the center. And this is a strange move. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Right? What's going on here? What's going on? What are we doing here? Why are we giving up this exchange here, right? So why are we? And of course white doesn't take it right away. Maybe he wanted to, on the English, get this sort of opened up, maybe see if we can, or maybe, I don't know, got checking lanes here coming, I don't know, things are getting interesting. It's almost as if they didn't realize that they had maybe a winning pawn here. But black, what's going on with black, right? Why this move? Can we make sense of this move? Is it just a waiting move? I think it's kind of a waiting move, right? We didn't really want to do anything else. We're going to actually be really passive the rest of this game and just sort of defend this square, maybe. And the waiting move tempts this big pawn side exchange. And we don't need to take the exchange. We can now use our waiting move to make a stronger pawn structure here. Again, not caring at all about this middle pawn. Why? Why are we not caring? Why? It's triple attacked, quadruple attacked. We're just giving it up, right? Because we were gambiting a pawn earlier this game, and we now are valuing this strong knight outpost more than this pawn. So white, of course, thinks maybe we're not paying attention. Maybe thinks we want this rook here. Maybe thinks something, I don't know, but the queen can just recapture. So if the bishop recaptures, of course, we're losing. So we've got queens pretty much forced here. And I think this has been a long plan, right, in this bullet game to get a bishop somehow active. They wanted to get an active bishop, but it's a little bit too late, right? I've already done my work here. I've already won this center, in my opinion. And so my knight can retreat, and now we have strange issues. Right now we might see like, oh wow, this pawn has really got to be captured by white. Yeah, and so they capture with the pawn. Makes a lot of sense. However, this was a timely chance, right? So we felt the urgency of the pawn to recapture. Now we see all of a sudden knight is causing issues. He uses outpost for a little momentum to cause some issues, right? And got to take. And queen gets to come in here from the sharp outpost that she's been on the entire game to check, right? Pulled the bishop away so that the queen can check here. And our another bishop is going to come into a support here, right? So although the bishop had to retreat, it's now in a really good spot. This has worked well for it. But the game's not won yet. Black has left his king lonely in the center. Not sure what we want to do about that. We have this passed pawn. We have a pending attack coming on this B file, perhaps. Not a lot of weaknesses on the king side still, depending on how white chooses to defend. And they push the pawn. And this is where, maybe we could have just taken this pawn. Maybe that was a passive move, right? I don't know really what I was thinking here. Again, this was bullet, so let's see, time-wise, we're at move 20. We should have been still at the early half of this game. And my knight is now be kind of a little sneaky here, right? This is a little bit sneaky. You wouldn't exactly expect this. And we'll see what's in mind here. Do we forget something, right? Do we lose a tactic? Look, I'm being forked. Being forked hard. And my king has to move. So my king now is able to stop this pawn. But we're going to lose a rook here. And mind you, my knight is all hung up here. So I wonder if this is a blunder, right? What's white going to do here? It's tempting a blunder, right? Because, of course, probably need to capture this knight right away. But they don't. And so, still haven't captured this knight. I wonder why, though. Do they need to now? Is it pertinent for them to capture this knight? You got to think fast and bullet, right? And so they do. And now when a king recaptures the pawn, it recaptures with tempo. So that was sort of the sneaky side of it. It's a free knight, sorta, but it's worth tempo, right? And always worth tempo. And while white was figuring out whether to take that free piece or not, and working out this tactic, we have a strange attack forming on the king side. And we're giving up more material here, so it's really, really difficult here. What are we thinking, right? Like, white definitely seems to have a lead now, but black still, it's not clear where their checkmate is. So queen comes in trying to neutralize this queen, right? If we can trade off queens, it's going to be really hard to finish this off this mate. Or will it be, right? Or will it be? How hard will it be? Because can this pawn be recaptured? No. No. We've got a strong pin here. And so the queen recaptures. Queen's trading. But are we really trading queens here? Are we really trading queens and letting all this pressure come up? No, we're not really trading queens yet. First of all, we're gonna take our initiative, push the king. We've got this support. We had this super tough pin that the queens did not have. We're not ready to trade. And so now we trade with check. And now black is just bearing down really hard. White needs to prove it's stronger, right? White needs to prove the strength of its extra rook. We've got the bishops and the knight balanced out. We've brought the rook back into the game, but can the knight escape? Knight cannot escape, right? And so here, they go for a really nice trick. Really, really nice trick. Let's see if it's enough, though. Bishop for bishop. Right? Oh, we didn't take the bishop, though. We just went for the free knight, right? We had the knight trapped, and black sort of assumed that we would take that. Maybe thought like, oh, if we recapture here, then the knight here, then the knight gets out. So we trade the knight. Now we're losing a bishop. And black has one last little bit of firepower left. His king is sort of dwindling, right? He's losing his queen side. He should, it almost feels like he should resign, but this is bullet, and I see one little weakness still that I want white to prove is not there. And they hungrily grab a pawn on the other side of the board. And I say, okay, well, you're lucky that we traded, that we sort of didn't do something here, because this might have been a lot different. We might have been trading off bishops. We'll see how this goes. Probably not going to work. So hungrily grabs another pawn. You always got to watch out for these hungry rooks, right? Now, all of a sudden, this rook is going to have to eventually, we're preventing the queening on this A file, which we love. We love that. And we also are noticing a mating net. You should all see a mating net here. And white needs to really see a mating net. If they don't, they're doomed. And here, this is a great opportunity for the king to, of course, if we don't, this bishop is all hooked up here, so we gotta do something, otherwise the king is gonna do some damage, get some comeback opportunities here. And the king wants to stay out of check. Anything to get out of check here. Anything to get out of check. Dark square is nice to get out of check as well. Our rook's on a light square, we can't be forked. And here, black goes for the mating net. And can they? Should they? Right? Do they use the right piece? In fact, they did not, right? And all of a sudden, Coach Chad's desperado comes through. Take a look. Look what you might do for white here. You thought you had two rooks, two bishops, but do you? All in all, at the end of the day, the bishop can just retreat. It's the only option because we're bearing down. The king can't step up onto his bishop nor his pawn. He can't step up here to give himself up. The rooks cannot support this bishop because the rooks were off hungrily hunting the pawns, and so my rook defeats despite two rooks and a bishop. Strange game. Probably should not have gone this way, but that's how you stay stronger than your average patzer, right? You go back here, you look at what white would do here, right? White's got you. White's got me beat at this point. Even though I've forced this like nasty queen trade and sort of rook feeling like he's down, like, okay, the knight, we gotta, accept the knight's loss. I love this move, but I think white is still better even at this point, right? Because here, why this doesn't really work is because, well, I guess, yeah, we still get this knight back, but now the bishop comes in here, and we're really having a hard time to keep this mating net. All we can hope is that, like, something similar, in this bishop being trapped here, it's just not going to work out. We're going to, Anyways, that's all for today. Thank you for studying with me, and next week we'll see if I have another game for y'all to review with me. I'll have a look at it like I think about it, and hopefully by explaining what I'm thinking about during my bullet games, you guys can gather some ideas, figure out some processes that you need to be implementing during your own games. Until then, I wish you all the best of luck. This is Coach Chad signing off. See you out in the arenas, and of course, look for that wink in the chat, because that means I'm bringing my A game. Take care, y'all.